All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a man who changed America's pastime forever. But he didn't do it with a bat or a glove. He did it with a chest protector and one heck of a voice.
You know, when we think of breaking the color barrier in baseball, one name, of course, comes to mind: Jackie Robinson, a true legend. But what if I told you his incredible act of courage inspired another man to break a totally different but just as tough barrier? So, who was he? His name was Emmett Ashford, and he wasn't a player. He was an umpire whose journey to the major leagues is just this incredible story of pure grit and, well, a whole lot of personality. Now, before he ever even thought about the big leagues, Emmett Ashford's life was headed down a completely different path. For 15 years, he was a postal worker. You know, a steady, stable job. But then, one single moment, a voice coming over a radio, changed absolutely everything. To really get the power of that moment, you have to picture it. Ashford heard this news while he was serving in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Jackie Robinson wasn't just becoming a baseball player, he was becoming a living symbol of what was suddenly possible. And for Ashford, lying on that cot, he became the spark for a very specific and very bold dream. But, you know, a dream like that doesn't just happen. Chasing it meant making a life-altering decision. He had to leave behind the security of that post office job and dive headfirst into the deeply segregated world of professional baseball in the 1950s. And this quote, this really tells you everything you need to know about the man. He just wasn't willing to let that dream die. He actually took a leave of absence for his first umpiring season in '51. And when the post office told him he couldn't have another one the next year, he just retired from the job. That was it. He was all in. And that journey, it took 15 years. 15 years of just grinding it out on buses, in small towns. He got his start in '51, got a big promotion to the Pacific Coast League in '54, but by 1965, after more than a decade of being looked over for a call-up to the majors, he was ready to quit. He thought it was over. He was licked. And you can see why he'd feel that way. Those 15 years weren't just about waiting. He was dealing with constant, ugly hostility. Fans yelling slurs, being turned away from hotels and restaurants. There were even games delayed because white umpires refused to work with him. It was an incredibly lonely and grueling way to live. So, to survive in that kind of environment, Ashford did something kind of radical. He didn't try to blend in. He made sure he stood out. I mean, think about the traditional umpire, right? Stoic, conservative, almost invisible. Ashford was the exact opposite. He was an explosion of energy. His own daughter called him a fantastic showman. He made umpiring a performance. His style was just full of flair. He wore cufflinks with his uniform. He kept his shoes so polished, he carried an electric polisher on the road. On the field, he didn't just jog, he would sprint full out to get the best angle on a play. His calls were these booming, theatrical announcements. And he'd even travel with his own typewriter to personally answer every piece of fan mail. He wasn't just an umpire, he was building his own brand. And then, in the winter of 1965, right when he was about to give it all up, the call finally came. The president of his league told him his contract had just been sold to the American League. The show was finally going to the big time. 51. Let that sink in for a second. That's how old Emmett Ashford was when he finally made his major league debut. After a decade and a half of struggle, at an age when most people are thinking about retirement, he was just getting started. You have to hear this story from his first day. It's just wild. It's opening day 1966 in Washington, D.C. The vice president is there, so security is super tight. When Ashford shows up, a Secret Service agent literally tells his cab driver there's no such thing as a black umpire in the majors. And Ashford's response was just perfect. Calm, cool, and completely historic. His career in the majors was actually pretty short, just 5 years because of a mandatory retirement age back then, but wow, did he pack it with historic firsts. He breaks the barrier in '66. Works the All-Star game in '67, and then the World Series in '70. And here's the best part, he made the final out call of that 1970 World Series. Talk about a storybook in, but his style wasn't exactly loved by everyone. Fans couldn't get enough of him. They literally said he put people in the seats. But the baseball establishment, they were split. The old school guys, including some other umpires, just hated it. They thought all the showmanship was a distraction. The common complaint was, you can't be a good showman and a good umpire. It was still a lonely job. Pitcher Jim Bouton wrote that other umps would snigger at him behind his back.
So, Ashford retired after that 1970 season, but his impact was far from over. He'd climbed his mountain, and now his influence was about to spread way beyond the foul lines.
He said this right after he got picked for that World Series crew in 1970. You can just feel the weight of that 15-year climb and the incredible satisfaction in those words. He had done it. He'd achieved the dream he cooked up on that Navy cot all those years ago.
And after he hung up the uniform, Ashford became a legit celebrity. He went to work for the commissioner's office. He was on TV shows like Ironside and The Jacksons. He did commercials, was on What's My Line. He even played an umpire in the classic baseball movie The Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings with Richard Pryor and James Earl Jones. The guy's personality was just too big for the baseball diamond alone.
But here's the bottom line. Emmett Ashford's career was about so much more than his own success. He, by himself, broke down a wall in one of the loneliest jobs in sports. And in doing so, he created a path for others to follow, even if that path has been slow to widen. And you can draw a straight line from his journey to today. In 2024, more than 50 years after he retired, Major League Baseball saw its first ever all-black umpiring crew take the field. A journey that started with one man, all alone, finally came full circle in that powerful, historic moment. But there's one last, kind of poignant twist to his story. For all he did, for being a true pioneer,